Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to come out and speak with you. And certainly these types of opportunities are very important to judicial candidates. Again, my name is Gerald Cleary. I'm running in the O'Brien vacancy, punch number 150. Why is it important for the judicial candidates? We need to get our message out to the voters. They need to know who we are and what we stand for and what our level of experience is and our qualifications. And I ask you to support my candidacy for judge of the Circuit Court of Cook County. And the reason is my experience with the law, my knowledge of the law, my reputation for fairness, and my independence. Now, to give you a little bit of background about myself, I am a lifelong resident of Illinois. Grew up in the northern suburbs, went to the University of Illinois in Champaign, and I always wanted to be a litigator. And after graduation, I had many opportunities to go to law schools across the country. I chose Loyola because they educate fine litigators, and that's what I wanted to be. I worked my way through law school, going to law school at night and day, and then also clerking at a litigation firm. Overall, I'm a 22-year experienced civil litigator. What does that mean? I represent individuals, corporations, municipalities in cases before the Circuit Court of Cook County. These are high-profile cases. These are cases in which there's damages of millions of dollars, catastrophic injuries, and we're dealing with the Code of Civil Procedure jury trials. I've tried, over, I would say, 25 to 30 trials, jury trials. And of course, when I started the practice, I started at the bottom of the hill. People ask me, well, why did you want to become a judge? Well, I worked myself up from a law clerk to an associate to a partner to a part owner of a 120-member law firm. I got the top of the professional hill of being a litigator in Chicago, and I wasn't satisfied with what I had done. I wanted to do more. I wanted to serve the public. So I looked back, and I looked back at my background, my civil litigation experience over those many years, and I decided how could I best serve the public. And I quickly learned that becoming a judge would be the best way to do it. And this isn't a recent decision. I've been trying to do this for a number of years. I've applied for associate positions and things of that nature. But my experience as a civil litigator, it would be helpful, and certainly the experience of trying cases is very important. The next issue is fairness. Fairness is probably best exemplified by what others say. I can stand up here and tell you I'm a fair guy. But what's the best way is from what others say about you. And I think the best way to do that is by what the bar associations and evaluations. I'm sure you've heard from other candidates about bar evaluations. What they mean is these are confidential evaluations where they go and you get your application, you tell them who your adversaries are. That's one of the most important things. The people that you fought litigation battles against, what do they say about you? What do they say about your fairness and things of that nature? And they also ask the judiciary. Well, I want to tell you that for me, all the bar associations have found me qualified to be a judge. And the one I'm most proud of is the Chicago Bar Association. The Chicago Bar Association does their own evaluation, separate from the Association of Bar Groups, and they concluded that I am highly qualified to be a judge. That's their highest evaluation, that's their highest recommendation, and it's not given often, so I'm very proud of that. What other things, other than the bar associations, there's a group called Martindale Hubbell. It's a trusted legal source, and they did the same thing. They did a confidential evaluation of all my opponents and the judiciary, and I was awarded what's called AD preeminent. And what that means is it's the highest level awarded from that organization for legal ethics and legal ability. Not only that, the Illinois Supreme Court, Justice Ann Burke, solicited me to submit my materials for a judicial assignment. I submitted my materials, and she had a blue ribbon panel of some of the finest attorneys in Chicago, and they did another analysis, and they determined after that analysis and background check that I am recommended for a judicial assignment. So those are the qualifications, and those indicate that I am a fair and qualified person to become a judge. The final, and another aspect that I should mention is, how can you be fair? If I've been an advocate for so many years representing individuals in civil cases, how can I step back and then become impartial? Well, 98% of cases settle short of trial. And how they settle is you interact with your opponents and you learn the strengths and weaknesses of each of your cases. Now, if I don't recognize or understand the strengths and weaknesses of some other party's case, I'm doing a disservice to my client. But that's how cases resolve. You hear both sides and you come to an amicable conclusion to the case short of trial. In addition, there's what's called mediation. That's something that's done outside the court with private parties, and you mediate and come to a conclusion. I am a certified mediator and arbitrator. I've mediated hundreds of cases. So I've acted in that position where I've heard both sides of the case and we're able to resolve the case short of trial. Another indication of my fairness. The final thing I want to talk about is independence. I think it's very important for a judge to be independent of any type of influences. Here, there's going to be important issues from the civil side that may come to play in the civil courts. We have issues of pension reform, education reform, gun control. Those are things that are going to likely be passed downstate. And what's the next step? Somebody's not going to be happy with that legislation, one side or the other. And the next step is going to go into the circuit court for a determination as to whether it's constitutional, whether it's valid. I think you would want somebody who's independent of any type of political influences, of special interests, or things of that nature, to resolve those issues. I can tell you and pledge to you that I am the independent person. You'll probably hear from my opponent that she's backed by the Democratic Party. I'm not. And I think that's a plus, because I can step back and not have those influences when I have to make tough decisions. So in total, I think you combine my experience, my reputation for fairness, and my independence makes me the most qualified candidate. And I ask for your support. Again, my name is Gerald Cleary, punch number 150 for the O'Brien vacancy. Thank you.